Hello everyone again, this is Rich. We're going to go over transfer pricing. Again, this is a topic that we did not cover in class on Saturday, and so we could go over some more in-class exercises to get you kick-started on the homework. These transfer pricing slides are important for any of you who are currently working for a large corporation or who think they might or aspire to work in a large corporation. This is an especially relevant concept. It's one that I've seen. It was a daily part of work life at both Coors Brewing Company as well as Fiserv in my work experience. So let's take a look through these slides. Again, the primary gist of these slides is to bring you some familiarity with the concepts, and we'll work through an example together online to the extent that we can. So let's go ahead and begin. To begin, what is transfer pricing? Simply put, if you have a large corporation, you might very well have a situation where one subsidiary of the parent company is selling to another subsidiary. So for example, at Coors Brewing Company, at one point they were completely vertically integrated. So we had a bottle manufacturer that would sell to the brewery, and the bottles they produced and manufactured, they would sell to the brewery to put the bottles in, to put the beer in bottles. So there has to be a negotiated price between the brewery and the bottling divisions, or in this example, on this slide, the battery division of a auto company and the auto division that manufactures the cars. The potential problem that comes up is that sometimes there's a tension between having greater profits at the one division, which puts a downward pressure on profits at the other division. So using my Coors example, the bottling company or the bottle making company, if they chose the optimal price for their profitability, they'd be gouging their sister company, and we wouldn't really necessarily be making decisions in the best interest of the parent company as a whole. So that's the basic tension. And the only way I've seen it remedied in my experience is to have a pretty well articulated and clear policy on how transfer prices will be set. And then there should be goals set up so that everyone has the mutual interest of the company at heart. And again, that's that concept of goal congruence that you've heard me talk about throughout the class. So again, the ideal transfer price allows each division manager to make decisions that maximize the company's profit while attempting to maximize his or her own division's profit. That's the best case scenario. That's the proverbial win-win. So if we look at transfer pricing, the general rule is that a transfer price should be set at a price where the additional outlay per cost per unit incurred because the goods are transferred to an internal customer, plus the opportunity cost per unit to the organization because of the transfer. I think this is best illustrated using an example. So in this first scenario, there's no excess capacity, meaning that the battery division is selling all that it can make. So when its sister company comes knocking on the door and says, hey, we need batteries, the battery division is like, you know what, we're selling as many batteries as can make. They're selling quickly, and if we supply you, that means we're going to miss out on a high profit sale to an external customer. So they have to negotiate a transfer price. So in this example, we're talking about production capacity of 30,000 units, selling price per battery of 40,000, so they consider that the market price. Variable costs per battery, 18, and that's true regardless of whether you're selling to an internal or external customer. And then the fixed cost per battery, $7. So currently they're selling about 300,000 batteries to outsiders at $40 a piece. The auto division needs to use 100,000 of these. So what is the appropriate transfer price? So given the slide on the previous page, I would ask you to think of this information provided. What is the additional outlay cost per unit incurred because goods are transferred? And then what is the opportunity cost per unit to the organization because of the transfer? So give that a thought. Go ahead and pause this video and see if you can crunch the numbers, and we'll see if you get to the right answer. So give it a shot and return to the video in a moment. All right. I trust that you gave it a very full-hearted effort. So let's look at what the answer is. Again, this is scenario 1 where there's no excess capacity, meaning they're selling as many batteries as they can. And again, we're going to use this rule: transfer price equals the additional outlay cost per unit incurred because the goods are transferred, and the plus the opportunity cost per unit to the organization because of the transfer. So in the circumstances of this case, the additional outlay cost per unit is equal to the $18 variable cost per battery. And the opportunity cost is basically the contribution margin that they give up if they're selling to an internal customer versus an external customer. So basically, you'll notice in this example, the transfer price is going to be set at $40 per battery, which is the market price that they're selling at. So generally speaking, if there's no excess capacity, if the division is selling as many as they can make, your transfer price is going to approximate the market price that the division would sell to an external customer. And again, this is the same concept illustrated a different way. $40 transfer price is set. Auto division can, if the auto division can find batteries from an outside supplier for less than $40, they will probably do so. If they look outside and external vendors are selling for more than $40, then they will impose on their the battery division's capacity and basically get a product from them at the $40 cost. And again, this is just to reiterate, when the selling division is operating at capacity, as we had in scenario 1, the transfer price should be set at the market price. So let's look at scenario 2 when there's excess capacity. So there's a couple of production lines at the battery division where the guys working the line are sitting on their hands. They got no one to sell to, they got nothing to make. That is less advantageous for the battery division, but it's more advantageous for their sister company at the auto division. So using the same set of parameters, I will go ahead and ask that you pause the video and ask what is the appropriate, and figure out what is the appropriate transfer price. The only nuance, I guess, to pick out is information remains the same, but the capacity is different, so the 150 versus the 300, and the outside purchase price of 38. So keep that in mind, and then see if you can calculate what the appropriate transfer price is under these circumstances. All right, again, I trust that you gave it a full, good-hearted effort. So let's look at this example. And again, the transfer price formula remains the same, but in this case, the transfer price is only going to be $18 per battery. It's comprised entirely of the additional outlay cost per unit incurred because the goods are transferred, but there's no additive component related to the opportunity cost, because it's not as if the auto division is vulturing or commandeering sales for their own benefit. These lines were going to go unused. They weren't operating at capacity, so they weren't going to sell any of these units to get that $22 contribution margin. So in this case, the $18 per battery charge works to the benefit primarily of the auto division, but then again, the battery division gets to cover their variable costs, so there's something in it for them too. So again, this is a win-win, in which case, under the circumstances with excess capacity, they both meet their interests, and the company's interests as a whole are met. So again, the general rule when we're excess capacity, when the selling division is operating below capacity, the minimum transfer price is the variable cost per unit. And again, this is it illustrated a different way. When the transfer price is set at 18, and between 18 and 39, and again, that 39 is determined because they could have gotten product from an outside vendor at $38. That's going to be your sweet spot where the transfer will incur internally. If there's a cost set lower than 18, if the cost is set higher than 39, the transfer will not occur. So why did I make it a point to include these slides and ask you to look at this video? Like I said, I've encountered transfer pricing disputes wherever I've worked, and even some of my old audit clients had them. And what happens is management winds up becoming a mediator, as we have in this example. So you have the woman here saying, or excuse me, the man here saying, I don't want to pay $65 for that part. And you have his counterpart saying you don't have a choice. And then you have someone who has to mediate. And depending on where I've worked, the person who mediates gets bogged down by these requests and doesn't want to have to referee disagreements between their employees. So for that reason, you will serve yourself well as an employee of a large to mid-sized company where they do this by being able to come up with some mutually beneficial agreement between your interdivisional counterparts to come up with a plan to set transfer prices and stick to a general norm or policy. Doing so, you can just basically say to your boss, stay out of it. We have it figured out, and this is our policy, and we can manage it without you. I think your future bosses will appreciate that. Anyway, that's it for this set of slides. If you have any questions, let me know. Take care.